fan, Brian Davis Races, and you can too. Tonight, my friends, we are going to race bikes just outside of Green Bay, about 45 minutes away from my house. Now, last night was 2 hours, lots of hills, fairly exhausting. Tonight is only an hour, full gas, like a Zwift race, road racing on fat bikes, because it's on ski trails. It is just a super highway of speed. I'm super excited about it. We're only doing 6 laps, and the laps are like 2.5 miles each. So it should be right around an hour, maybe even a little bit less than an hour. This is such a road race friendly course. It actually suits my strengths really well. So I might be better off just going with the leaders and see if I can hang out for dear life. No one expects me to pull through, so I don't have to. Anyway, let's go race bikes and we'll just see what happens. Together, you and me. We'll find out. Okay, let's go.
Ryan, what's up?
Hey, man. Bye, Mom.
We're about 40 minutes away from race time. I got one lap. It is a small lap. My pressures are 9 and 10, I guess. Still 9 and 10 from last night. I should double check that before the race, but yeah. Fast course, my legs are so sore from last night. Oh my God. And I must have banged my knee on my trailer today when I was doing other actual like work kind of junk. And now it hurts. So tears. Tears. This is gonna be fast. Oh, here we go, race fan. Let's get started. Brian Davis Races, and you can too. Let's go racing. This is a super fun race. Oh my God, I had a blast. So we all know it's gonna be fast. It's a short course, 2.4 miles. The reason it's so short is because it was a night race at this particular event. They had to keep us under the lights of the trail, so you didn't have to have full lights on your bike. And especially not here because there was a lot of lights in the turns. It was fine, but everyone was required to have a light on their handlebar, which is helpful to know where people are. It does definitely help. But anyway, that's why the course was small. So it is a fast race. Everybody knows it. Nobody's going anywhere. It's a skinny up to get out to this sort of larger than double sort of super highway of speed that we're about to spill out onto. So I chopped up the race to some key moments, but the gist of it is we're going really fast, and there's a big group of us in the elites that are all going to stay together, and there's maybe 3-4 people that are doing all the work of pulling, and they do chip off a few people off the back here and there, and they almost got me off the back on the last lap, on the last hill. Ooh, it was tight, but I hung on there and managed. So we'll see how the finish ends up. So anyway, this was the gist of it. We get out in this open area, and now we're going to group up, and we're just gonna hammer. So we're doing an incredible amount of speed here. The snow was perfect. It was really cold, not like painfully cold, but cold enough to keep the snow super firm, and no loose snow, no mashed potatoes. Everything was great. So you can see the name of the game here is just kind of maintaining your position, move up if it becomes obvious, but essentially I don't want to do any pulling. I don't want to do any work. I'm tired from the night before racing, so I'm just gonna do whatever I can to hang on for as long as I can. Now in the first lap, I don't know what our lap times are going to be necessarily, so it's hard to determine how long 6 laps is going to take us, but it becomes pretty apparent pretty quickly that this is not going to take us very long. So yeah, here we go. Now I fueled up before the race with a goo, an SIS gel more specifically, and that was great. I think that's really all I needed. I had a bottle with me and I took a couple sips of it, but not much. So there was 2 hills in the course, and they're not real big, but they're enough where you got to pop over it with a sprint to stay with the group. So that was the thing. The hill itself wasn't so bad. It was just the people at the front would drive the pace once they got over the top, which is great because it kept us actually fairly safe throughout the race, that we had a nice tight group. We were fairly single file for most of it, but certainly plenty of times where you're going to edge and elbow in front of somebody like the rider coming up on my side here. You know, no problem, no issues with that, but that was kind of the name of the game, is get that position, try to get your handlebars in front of other people and just maintain your position more than you're trying to move up necessarily. First of all, there's not a lot of room to move up, and then you got to ask yourself, do you really want to be up there if you were to get up there? Because it's going to require you to go really hard. So anyway, this is my teammate Jeff leading us in here. He got a little bit of a gap, so I'm kind of encouraging him to close that up. I love Jeff, but I would have to say Jeff's handling skills on this night were a little suspect. I think he had too much air in his tires. He's a better bike handler than me for sure, but he was struggling on the snow, and so I chirped at him once or twice to not knock me over. So I felt bad after the race. That's kind of race brain, right? Like you get that type A really comes out when you're hammering at the top of your heart rate. So I did apologize to Jeff for chirping at him about taking a spot. He did nothing wrong. He was just taking a spot, but he did it like 3 or 4 times to me. I'm like, stop doing that. It's driving me nuts. Anyway, all good. That's racing. No problem. Blah, blah, blah. So you can see in the rear view camera, there's like 8 ahead of me, and then there's 2, 3 behind me, and that's kind of the mix that we had. There was maybe 10 or 12 of us in this group. I think we lost 1 or 2. So we finished really with like 10 people is kind of the main thing. Now you see, the reason I left this clip in is you see those other people coming around. We just went through the start-finish from it was the elite category, the advanced category, and the intermediate category. All 3 went off at around 6:30, 6:32, 6:34. So the story of this race is, oh my gosh, we are having tons of lap traffic. Now, what's happening with the elite group is that we are pulling we're not all pulling, but we're pulling a freight train through this battlefield of lapped riders. So it was getting real intense. Now in the beginning, when we lapped the first couple riders, we'd say, oh, you're doing great, and kind of cheer them on, and then it got to be, there's just so many of them, there was no cheering. It was more of a, I really need you to get out of the way because I don't want to crash because I ran into a lapped rider. And I appreciate that you're going slower and you're out there at your own pace, but I hope that you appreciate what we're trying to accomplish as well. So I did bark at somebody that wasn't moving over as far as I would like that person to move over. It was on the last lap, and he responded that he was as far left as he could be. Definitely not true. There's a lot more room on the left because you're going a lot slower, and we're passing you at 18 miles an hour and you're going 8. Like, there's that speed differential is a safety issue. Like, I don't think you're going to crash me. I hope you don't crash me, but if you do, somebody's going to get hurt. We are going at very different speeds. So anyway, hopefully this short of course, if you're a race promoter, just think about all the lap traffic that people are going to have to endure. And it's not fun for us to pass lap traffic, and it's certainly not fun for lap traffic to get passed by us, because we are going so fast that it sort of shocks their system. And you can see every once in a while we pass somebody and they would sort of freak out and they're like, no, just go straight. Just keep going straight. Don't change anything. Just stay straight. So anyway, I hope they had fun. We had fun. I had a blast at this race. It was super fun. Just super fun. So this was the sprint up the hill. The other issue on a little hill like this, there's just not a lot of room. There's not a lot of wide track there, right? So if a lap rider is in the way going up the hill at their pace and you get stuck behind them, like, you're blowing out. I mean, if you miss this train, if you get on the wrong end of catching this group, it's a hard fight back. And that happened to me going over the once. I let a gap go and I had to close it back up, and it hurt a lot to close it back up. You can see in that last rear view, that was the case. We got a gap and then they fought their way back. Good for them. So yeah, here we go around the start finish. Great cheering from the crowd. It was, again, 6 laps. I think this is probably lap number 3 we just went through. Maybe it was already number 4. I'm not sure. So, but yeah, I'm just showing you a little bit more of the lap traffic that we're cruising through. Sorry for the stabilization on the GoPro. I don't know what setting I did wrong on tonight's race versus other night's race, but this one seems really shaky. So I'll try to pay more attention to that next time for the next race. So yeah, there you go. Please do subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. If you want to jump out and buy some alpaca socks, those are the socks that I produce. Any sock purchase helps the channel grow. Also, I am the founder of a company called Fix-It Sticks, so if you were to go buy a set of tools from Fix-It Sticks, I would be very grateful for that as well. My goal lately has been to not do the skippable video ads on YouTube, to just not try to monetize those and give you guys more content with less interruptions. In exchange for that choice, I would hope that you would smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. That's my trade-off. All right, so this is where I gapped. And I fought back. I did get them. So now we're getting near the end. People have realized there's no separation that's going to occur. It's just going to be a drag race to the finish here. It's going to be a sprint finish, and it's going to be tight because we're going to be passing lap traffic, and there's a skinny up all the way up into the start-finish line, and then it opens up finally in the last 200 meters. But positioning before those last 200 meters is pretty critical. All right, so I think, yeah, we got the guy who won Friday night, Matt Acker, I believe was in front for a lot of this race, doing a lot of the pulling. Caden Budd, who ended up winning this race that you're watching, spoiler, he, I'm sure, was doing some amount of pulling, and his father, Mike Budd, was doing a lot of pulling. See two lap riders coming together there. I'm like, no, don't do that. So, thankfully, they split apart, so that was okay. So, yeah, up this hill again, and the cramps in my legs were starting to become an issue that was going to have to be, I was going to have to start paying attention to how many times I could do that hill. So I think this race, I was telling people after the race, if this race was 2 minutes longer, I don't think I would have made it to the finish line. My legs were absolute toast. Friday night, the race prior to this one, was a burner. Tons of hills, and I used way too much energy, ran out of food, so recovery was tough, like blah, 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 excuse. But anyway, this race was so fun. I do wish I would have saved myself solely for this race, and then whatever I had left over could be Friday night's race. I wish those races were flip-flopped on evenings. That would have been better for me. Okay, thanks. All right, so this is a good example. I just wanted to show you, like, this is what the finishing straight is going to look like. This is probably, we're about to go into our last lap here, so you can see it skinny up, and then it opens up for a pretty good amount of space where you could get a sprint in, and yeah, I guess that's more than 200 yards actually. So there's a long way to sprint from that skinny up.
Yeah. 2 more to go, I'm sorry. 3 more.
The person next to me said, how many left? And I said 1 more. No, 2 more. No, 3 more. I think he figured out I was messing with him. So, yeah, there you go. All right, so now, yeah, some folks here are going to play a position game, and frankly, I wish I would have moved up. I think Jeff, my teammate here, makes a really good move, gets himself into a great position, smart racing, heads-up racing by Jeff. I don't know if this is the clip, but he works his way up there. Matt or Evan, one of the 45 North riders, they come up on my left side. I think I couldn't find that clip, but that was an excellent move.
On your right. That means move a little left, thanks.
That's the guy I chirped at, so apologize. Sorry, buddy. Didn't mean that negatively, but I was just hoping for a little bit more space so nobody gets hurt. That's all. So sorry. All right, so now we're back to racing. George is here on my right. George is the race organizer. Thought I was going to go down right there. Kept it together. Again, last lap, everybody's getting kind of cagey, just like a good old-fashioned crit, right? And we're gonna have some drama on the last lap, just like a good old-fashioned crit. Oh, it's so fun. You see how excited I am? Like, I can't wait to race crits again. It's so fun. This race got me fired up, man. So there you go. All right, so Jeff ahead of me again on his handling. If you watched some clips earlier, he kind of faded out in some of those turns, and that was concerning to me. But he did fine. There was nothing wrong with it. So now I think this is the part where Jeff's going to move up, or shortly thereafter Jeff moves up. That was the last hill. Now we know we're all buckled in tight for the finish. Maybe there's one more hill to go still, but that's it. There was only 2 on the course, so not many to choose from. Okay, this is the last hill. So now everybody knows the game, right? Full out sprint. Maybe you can get a spot on this hill, and then you're set up for a better position. So everybody kind of went into it, but everybody's pushing so hard, so there's no spots to be gained. There, I think you can see Evan kind of squirms his way up to the front. Smart move. Now he's instantly in 4th wheel just like that. That's somebody that knows what they're doing. All right, I am on the tail end of this finishing straight. Honestly, I never even turned around the whole race, so I thought maybe there's 6, 7 people behind us. I have no idea what's behind us. So now we're going in the finish. Jeff carries that turn a little wide, comes back in, closes the gap. Now I got a little work to do to cinch up the wheel ahead of me. And I think, yeah, see, I should have powered right through and got that gap, and I tried, but so did the guy next to me. I think that's Ken, and so did Ken next to me, and then Scott comes up next to me. I think Scott. And Scott keeps beating me in all these races. Boom, there's the crash. Luckily, I avoid that, get around on the side, and I'm going to end up sprinting. Now, I end up, according to the camera, I end up in 4th place, but I'm awarded a 5th place finish. But I definitely got 4th place. So Scott, who was sprinting behind me, I could hear him coming, and I tried to close the door on him so he didn't beat me. But he had a less overall time because it has to do with how you rolled over the chip mat when you started and how you roll over the chip mat when you finish. So I don't love that. I'd rather it be placed on actual placings across the finish line because that's what happened. So in my heart, I got 4th place. The camera shows I got 4th place, but in the results, I got 5th place. Not the end of the world. All right, so that little close-up of the crash, and here I am trying to close the door on Scott. You can see there's his back wheel staying in my frame, staying in my frame, staying in my frame. We go under the gate, still in my frame. So clearly he did not get his front wheel ahead of me on the mats. Just saying. Just saying. I just want to point that out, right? Since I have all these cameras. All right, I'll put it so just in case you can't tell. Scott, great race. Just messing with you. So congrats on your finish. Were you right up in the front?
I was right up in the front.
Did you crash?
No, I skirted right around it. I'm still shaking.
Yeah. What happened in the car?
All I heard was cartwheels, and I just got lucky and scooted around it. I think it was Caden, followed by Paul, and then myself.